Greetings, YouTube. As you can well imagine, the GOP in Iowa was not happy with the Same-Sex Marriage Act. And recently, one of their representatives attempted to get a resolution placed on the debate calendar, which would have called this law into question. Now, it isn't really a surprise that the GOP is against this. They seem to be all about telling other people how to live their lives. And it's really hard to spin this in a positive light for the most part. However, this attempt failed. And while that in and of itself is a positive thing, there is a silver lining to this. Because of the way the Iowa legislative law is structured, this resolution cannot be brought before the Iowa voters until 2014. So that's 4 years from now, because it has to be voted on in two successive houses before it can get put before the voters. And that can't happen until 2014, which means it's going to be 4 years of people being able to marry whoever they love, of true marital equality in Iowa. And I'm thinking that 4 years from now, when the GOP tries this again, it's going to be harder to pull off. Because the rush, the high, if you will, of the law that it was just recently passed and enacted is going to be gone. It's not going to seem quite as imminent. And there will be 4 years of people getting married to whomever they love to show them that, the entire state of Iowa isn't going to fall off the map into the ocean because anyone who wants to can marry anyone else they want to. Because remember, folks, we're talking about consenting adults here. And what consenting adults do with each other really isn't anyone else's business. And if two people love each other, two people love each other. Their gender, their sex, should play no part. I mean, if you want to, look north. That big country that America likes to think of as its hat, Canada? Canada's still there. Their economy's doing really well. They aren't in a horrible situation in the least. And guess what? They have same-sex marriage, as do any number of other nations in the world, none of which have suddenly exploded or burst into flames because they have true marital equality. Because that's what this is about, folks. Marital equality. And yet I'm still waiting for someone, anyone, to tell me how marital equality endangers my marriage. How my marriage is made worse off because two people who love each other and just happen to be of the same gender want to get married. No one's ever told me that. I've asked again and again and again in these videos, on threads and comment threads, on other videos, on forums, news groups, in person, and I have yet to have anyone give me an answer. I'm thinking they can't give me an answer because there isn't one. Because it always boils down to it makes people uncomfortable or it calls their particular worldview as far as their religion is into question. Tough. You don't have a constitutional right not to be offended. You don't have a constitutional right not to have someone say that because your religious belief prohibits you from doing something doesn't mean it prohibits me from doing something. Because that's what it's about. Telling other people what to do with their lives in a way that makes no sense. Because if two people love each other, what do you care? Why is it your business? I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for someone to tell me how same-sex marriage adversely affects my life. How it has formed some kind of horrible conundrum in the world. How it creates that societal damage that I keep hearing about. Societal harm. And I keep failing to get an answer. So it's good to know that at least in Iowa, 4 years, the bigots can't do a darn thing about it. And that makes me smile.